It's time.
Time to meet the women who make a living around fast cars.
Hello, ladies.
This is Women Take the Wheel.
Sit down, strap in, and turn on all you've got.
Nikki Clark is taking you behind the scenes.
You're ready to win. Let me tell you, these cars, they get up and go pretty good.
Introducing you to women drivers, crew members, and fans of the racing world. Plus, Nikki is bringing you the latest racing news in Indiana and beyond.
We're going to bring it to you from the tower as they get ready to pull into the beam.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network.
All right, strap yourselves in.
Getting off the track and in your ears. This is Women Take the Wheel.
Come on, baby.
With your host,
Here we go.
Nikki Clark.
Hi, I'm Nikki Clark, your host for Women Take the Wheel here on the All Indiana Podcast Network. And on this episode, I welcome Kristen Wentzell, who is Vice President of National Event Marketing for NHRA. We talk women in the NHRA, both on the track and behind the scenes. And both of us grew up in Minnesota, so we do a little reminiscing and we talk about good old Brainerd International Raceway.
Your day moves fast. Your news should too. That's why there's a new and improved Wish TV app bringing you more local news, breaking alerts, live streaming, weather forecasts, radar, and Indiana sports all in one place. Customize your news feed to see the stories that matter most to you and get the information you need when you need it. Download the new and improved Wish TV app today on iOS or Android and take News 8 with you everywhere.
Okay, and welcome to Women Take the Wheel. And today I am with Kristen Wentzell, who is the VP of National Event Marketing. Is that correct for you?
That's correct. Thank you so much for having me, Nicole.
Thank you. And she works for the NHRA, and we actually have a little common bond. We're both Minnesota girls.
We are, and I think we probably figured that out as soon as we met. You know, it might have had something to do with our accents, but, you know.
Oh,
it's
no,
definitely
really?
A nice, no, don't you know?
Yeah.
And but definitely is a great way to be connected. So I love that about our connection.
Yeah, and I didn't realize you're so close to me. You're New Brighton, which is just a few miles down the road from Northeast Minneapolis.
Not too far, and I definitely spent a lot of time in Northeast Minneapolis as well, going to the University of Minnesota. So
me too.
I miss it, but I'm enjoying the sunny weather now.
Yeah, you miss it in the summer, not in the winter.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know.
I was home for. Oh yeah, you just did it. You know. I was home for winter. I was home at Christmas. Trust me, you didn't miss anything. So tell me, Kristen, how did you get into racing? Like, what was the first spark where you're like, oh, I love racing?
So and not a racer myself, but I've been a fan almost my entire life, thanks to my dad. My dad has been a racing fan his whole life as well, and he started bringing myself and my brother to the drag races at Brainerd International Raceway, probably back in, I'm going to date myself, but 1995 was probably the first year that I went to the Nationals in Brainerd, and I've been hooked ever since. I mean, it's that story of the first-time fan that goes, that has no idea what to expect, and you go and you're hooked for life. I mean, there's just nothing better than the smell of nitro.
Okay, what I love is you're like, oh, I'm dating myself 90s. I'm like, oh, sweet. Go back even a few more races. Go back a few more years for my first race. But Brainerd is, and you and I, when people say Brainerd, it's not just the zoo, people. Brainerd is a great fun race, and it's family-friendly, too.
It is very family friendly. And I mean, I tell you, even though it is family friendly, I still wasn't allowed to go to the zoo until I was 21. So. Oh,
I didn't go till I was in my 30s. I did not. My dad's like, you see that line, you don't cross it.
Exactly. I know. But I was with my dad and my brother every year, you know, so I felt very safe, but it's fun. I mean, it was just, and just being from Minnesota in the Twin Cities, if you were going to attend the Brainerd race, it's about 2.5 hours away from the Twin Cities. So if you were going to go for the weekend, you had to go. It's not really a day trip up and back every day, of course. So you needed a place to stay. And I think that's kind of where they drew their success, you know, and camping was from all the residents down in the Twin Cities that just simply needed a place to stay. And it just became this group of dedicated race fans that went and dedicated their vacation time every summer to go up there and meet, whether it was for 3 nights or 4 nights or 5 nights or sometimes even more. There are fans that go up there for a couple of weeks in the summer to enjoy the race, as well as the divisional race leading into the nationals. So it's a good time. It's a very good time.
Well, yeah, that was my thing too. When I was growing up, those were my 2 vacations of the year: the Brainerd Points race and and then the national event, which my parents won. It was the North Star Nationals when I went. It was the North Star, but it's same thing. And you go up to the lakes, and it is beautiful, but it's a hike.
It's a hike, but a lot of us Minnesotans are so used to that drive going up north, as we call it, and
Yes.
it's really. It was funny when I came to the NHRA. Everyone says, "Oh, it's so far. It's such a drive to get to the track," and I'm like, "Oh, come on, I can do that in my sleep."
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. So now, did you say, "I love racing. I want to go work in the NHRA," or did the opportunity just make itself presentable to you?
So the first 10 years of my career, I was doing something completely different in a sense of I was doing marketing and events for family shows. I started working at V Corporation, which is a company that was based in Minneapolis at the time. They're the company that produced Sesame Street Live, starting back in the early 1980s. And so I worked for them coming out of college. And I was a promoter of live event shows. And, I traveled across the country to do media buys and work with different venues and theaters to put on these Sesame Street Live shows. And basically the job is putting butts in seats and selling tickets. So that's what I did for my first 7 years. And then I worked for the Harlem Globetrotters after that.
Oh, fun.
Very similar, but such a great organization. I very much adored working with them. Of course, they've been around for almost 100 years and very well known. But I did very similar work for them, marketing of their live events. And it wasn't until after I was with them about 3 years that I learned of a marketing and promotional opportunity at NHRA. I happened to see the job description come through, and someone had sent it to me and said, "This looks like it would fit you," because everyone around me knew that I was an NHRA fan, and that was something I did every summer, go to BIR. So someone sent it to me and said, "This would be great for you." I looked at the job description. It was everything that I did for V Corporation and the Harlem Globetrotters, but just for the NHRA. The only issue was that it was in California and I was in Minnesota. But my family was very young at the time. We had 2 small children, and we said, if there's any time that we're going to make a move like this, now is it. And everything worked out. I started talking to the NHRA, and it was just an amazing fit with my experience and my passion for the sport, and everything worked out. Of course, it has to work out when you're going to make a big change like that. So there I was, all of a sudden in California. That was back in 2012, and I've been promoting the sport of NHRA ever since.
And you do that, so you do exactly the same thing at NHRA, because I know you from I see you at each event, and you're making sure all the signage is up, all the branding is up, all the advertising is done. And so what else, what other jobs do you do that people might not know about with NHRA marketing?
So I also oversee the social media. I would like to say it's a social media team. We really have one person that is dedicated to our social media, but we work together as a team with our video editors, with the TV folks, with our PR team to make all of that social media content come together. So that's one area that I oversee. I also oversee another behind the scenes team, which is our, we call it corporate art, but basically our graphics team. So they produce all of the art, a lot of the still graphics and web banners, and they produce a lot of that signage that you see out at the events as well. So there's so much behind the work, things going on. I also oversee the media buying functions. There's a number of tracks that are owned by NHRA where we do a lot of the media buying ourselves. So I oversee media buyers and have done some of the media buying for the events myself, basically getting all the advertising set in market. And then I work very closely alongside the PR teams, as well as the ticketing teams. So there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes to make these events happen, and everything that we have to do to sell tickets. But we are a very close-knit team. We work very closely together, and even in these times of the pandemic and getting through it, we're all still working very closely together through video calls and things like that to get everything done. So,
yeah, I've been at a couple Zooms with you.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We have been doing Zooms with not only our internal teams, but more and more Zoom meetings with the drivers, with tracks. You know, we used to do phone calls. Of course, with the teams and the drivers, we used to do more in-person meetings at the events, but that was a little more tricky in 2020. So we started to go to more Zoom meetings. And it's just kind of taught us, you know what, we can do this more often. And that's going to help us improve communications. It's going to, you know, especially during a longer than normal off season, we're going to be getting together more often. And Zoom has really just brought a lot of us even closer together, which is crazy. You know, you feel so far away working remotely, but Zoom really has brought us closer together on so many levels. So it's been a great technology for us to use. And
that's the thing I love about NHRA marketing too, is, as you said, it's you guys, it's behind the scenes, but the drivers, the team owners, the PR people with NHRA are all so involved too. It's NHRA is like, it's a big team effort. Everybody works towards the same goal.
Absolutely. And that's part of getting everyone together on calls, you know, the sharing of ideas and bringing those thoughts together, because ideas don't only come from one team or even one organization within this racing community. They come from all over the place. I mean, we get calls often from drivers, from team members, from sponsors. Sponsors have a ton of great ideas on how we can do things differently in the sport, or just bringing new ideas to the table. So it really is collaborative work that goes on at NHRA, and it comes from every angle.
I love it. I love it. And this is Women Take the Wheel, and I'm big about women in and behind the scenes, because people are like, oh, there's the women drivers. But as I point to you and other people, there's so many women who work for the NHRA. I mean, if you have a passion for it, like you said, it's not just driving that, it's working behind the scenes. And NHRA has quite a few women in management roles, correct?
Absolutely. There's female employees across all levels of the NHRA, from event workers all the way up to the leadership team. There are 3 of us females on the leadership team at NHRA. We have a racetrack manager that's female as well. So it goes across the board. And our headquarters are based in Glendora, California, but we are steadily growing our Indianapolis office as well. I mean, there's just so many teams and drivers that are based in Indy, and we want to have more of an NHRA presence. Of course, we have our office at Lucas Oil Raceway right now, but we are looking to expand that. And, you know, during this time of transition of working remotely, now is a really good time for us to be looking at those types of opportunities to add to that workforce in Indy. So, but I mean, just speaking of the teams as well, so going beyond the drivers, of course, I mean, there are 2,000 female licenses in the NHRA, which is just unbelievable. But when you go beyond the racers and look at just the crews and the management, I mean, on the crew side, Kaylin Simmons is a current crew member on Terry McMillan's team. I mean, and this goes, there's so many examples, but this goes all the way back to the 60s and 70s. I mean, we had Allison Lee, who was a standout Top Fuel crew chief with her alongside her husband, Jim. So,
Kim
so
Lay.
much to talk about. Yes. And then on the management side, of course, there are so many females on team level management. You know, Megan Schumacher over at DSR, Kelly Antonelli at JFR, John Force Racing, and then and even on the sponsor side, you know, Lisa Mischler, who is head of Denso Motorsports.
Love Lisa.
I know, in their marketing team. So again, there are just so many examples of females in our sport that, you know, from the corporate level at NHRA to the event level, to teams, crews, management, drivers. I mean, it just goes on. And sometimes you just kind of forget that we have such a strong presence at NHRA, and not just women, but just in diversity across all levels as well.
And the thing I love about too is you say you have 2,000 women licensed. And my thing, I keep telling people, I'm like, unlike other sports, the women aren't just licensed, they are winning. I mean, we've surpassed now over
winning.
200 women wins.
Yeah, we're almost to 300 total wins, and that's for pros and sportsmen. And now just on the pro side, we have more than 150 pro wins. Of course, we surpassed that number a few years ago.
Yeah.
And we have 4 world champions. Shirley Muldowney, with her first one was way back in 1977. You know,
wow,
this is nothing. This is nothing new. You know, and now we have Erica Enders, we have Angel, Sam Pei, we have Brittany Force. So I mean, it just. They're winners. We have about 70 women who have competed in the pro classes, 18 of which have won races. So it's definitely something to write home about.
Because one of the things I pointed out, too, is the pro stock motorcycle class. On any given weekend, you'll have almost up to 10 female drivers or riders in the pro stock motorcycle category alone.
Absolutely. Well represented in the pro stock motorcycle class.
And they're crazy. To me, I'm like, those girls are badass because I want a chassis around me. And I'm just, in that time I watched when Gianna fell off her bike, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And she just got up like nothing.
You know, and the thing is, it is rare to see a motorcycle crash, which is great. You know, and you're right, they don't have a chassis. And I've often been asked, you know, if you could race any of the pro classes, which one would it be? And I just my very first gut response is, well, I'll tell you which one it wouldn't be, and it's pro stock motorcycle because it scares me. But it's just so thrilling. The fact that they've now exceeded 200 miles per hour, it still blows my mind.
Well, there is one more category that they won't, is the Top Fuel Harley. And there is one female rider in Top Fuel Harley, but none of my Top Fuel drivers, whenever I asked them about that, they're like, oh, those guys are crazy. I've never fallen off of my car, you know, or fall out of my car. And they have to wear flak jackets, you know, when they ride. So they're even crazier.
Yeah, and we get a lot of, if you pay attention to the social media, we get a lot of wild rides out of that one.
Yes. And by the way, I want to bring up to you, when you're talking about women and your social media, how you said it's one team. Can we give a shout out to Nikki?
Absolutely. Nikki Sheely is that one-person team. And like I said, she's got a lot of support from all kinds of team members. But everything that you see on NHRA social media comes from Nikki's brain, and she's very creative. She's very thoughtful. She's a very much an outside of the box thinker, and we just adore her on our team and don't know what we would do without her. She travels to every single event. I mean, there's a lot of folks that kind of, you know, we split up the travel and take turns, you know, going to this event or that event depending on the job, but you'll see her at every event.
Yeah, she's amazing. That's why I wanted to give her a shout out, because I'm like, Nikki does it all, and you never get to see her. She's always behind the camera. So I wanted to give her a shout out. Now, here's another thing, too. When you talk about traveling, is you have 3 beautiful daughters. I'm like, how do you balance doing the travel with having your daughters?
You know, I guess in 2020 I didn't travel as much. You'll see me at a handful of races on a given season, but I'm not out at every event. The majority of my function with NHRA happens pre-event, you know, because we're setting up all of the advertising, we're setting up the television commercials, radio commercials, the digital marketing campaigns that you'll see the ads on your Facebook. That's all me working with a digital marketing team to put that together. A lot of my function does happen before the event, so I don't need to travel into as many events, but I do get out to a handful. And, you know, it's been something that my family understands. I mean, even prior to working for the NHRA, I was traveling a little bit, you know, for my previous job. So they get it, they understand, and they know that it's a quick trip, you know, go for the weekend and then come back. So, it's just kind of been a part of, you know, what I've been doing my entire career. So it's good. It's good. But it's been nice to take a little bit of break from the travel in 2020 and just be here with the family.
Oh, no offense, but when you look for upsides of 2020, I loved it here in Indy because I only live like 2 miles from the track. So it's like, we're having another race in Indy. Cool. That's awesome. You know, I was like, hey,
I know.
Who wants me to go take pictures? I can just bike on up to the track.
Exactly. That was, we were so grateful to have that opportunity last year. It was just such a great entryway back into racing. Not only for us being an NHRA track, easy, for us to get into all the logistics of pulling it off, but, just working with the city and the state and the local health department to put it all together. I mean, it all ran very smoothly. We were just grateful for the opportunity to do it in Indy because that's where the majority of the teams are based. So hopefully was a great entry point for many of the teams to come out as well and just kind of get back into it after everyone had been off for a few months there.
Oh, yeah, it was so great. And you guys did an amazing job of making sure everything was covered, everybody was safe, everybody had masks on. I thought everything went so smooth when you guys were here in Indy. And like I said, I enjoyed it. I still got to go to the starting line and do my thing, so I loved it.
Yeah, we tried to make it as normal as possible and make sure that everyone was getting, especially, from your perspective, getting the social media content that you needed, but doing it in a safe way. Of course, when we came back in July, everything was still we're still in the middle of it. We're still in the middle of the pandemic. I mean, look, we still are, so we just had to make sure that we were doing it in a safe manner. But we had a lot of fans that were able to come. Of course, we had capacity mandates that we had to abide by, but that was okay. We had to understand how to handle that and how to manage it, especially as we started racing outside of Indianapolis. So it was great to have those couple of races in Indy in July so we could kind of just get back in the saddle and learn the new way of how we had to do this, at least for, the rest of 2020. And, as we look ahead to 2021, we're likely going to have some protocols in place, but as we've learned this past year, every region is a little bit different. We can't treat Indianapolis or we can't treat Florida the same way as we would California. Every region is going to be a little bit different as far as what the guidelines are going to be. So we just have to pay close attention.
Okay, is there any other sneak peeks or anything you want to tell us about the upcoming 2021 season for NHRA, what fans can expect?
Well, they can expect that racing is going to start next month with the Lucas Oil Series in February. So as per usual, the Lucas Oil Series will kick it off for us. And we won't start with the Camping World Series, the Pro Series, until March. As you know, we would typically kick off here in California in February, but we're just not going to have the opportunity to do that this year. We hope later in the year for California, of course, but we will be starting in Gainesville, which is kind of exciting because we've never started a season in Gainesville. Usually it's our East Coast opener, and now it is the season opener for this year. So we're planning it March 11 through 14 in Gainesville, and just stay tuned. There could be changes along the way. We're even looking at opportunities to race in places we haven't raced before with the Pro Series. So
that's exciting.
We've got a lot of fun things hopefully coming for this season, and but everything is as planned right now. That you see the schedules on NHRA.com, and we plan on starting to race next month in Florida with the Lucas Oil Series.
I think I'm going to try to make it to the Gainesville because I'm like, that's such a great race. And I have, friends making their debut, like Josh is going to make his debut. And I got my friends who,
great.
Yeah, and I got friends who do their alcohol dragster and everything. So I really want to make it down for that because I really need to get out of Indy and get some sun. That's for sure.
It's the perfect time. We are excited to keep the race in March as it usually is because it's just right around that spring break time. And we understand not as many people will be traveling this year as they normally would, hopefully after this year, after, more vaccinations and things like that. But it is still spring break time. It's that time that everyone needs a break. And for those that are driving in or coming in via other modes of transportation, it's going to be a good time. It'll be great weather, and it'll be a lot of racing. We met our quotas in sportsman entries within an hour or two of putting them out.
That's awesome.
The car counts are going to be out of control. We're excited. There's going to be a lot of cars on track. I think for the fans that are so excited to come back, the racers are just as excited to come back. And not everyone had the opportunity to come back last year. So you're going to see a lot from an entry standpoint this year as well.
Perfect. I'd love to hear that. And so now something I ask everybody is, what advice do you have for women who want to get into the sport? If there's girls listening, what would you suggest they do if they wanted to get a job like you have in NHRA? What would you suggest they do?
You know what? My best piece of advice is to reach out and network and just talk to folks. I have always been receptive. If I get an email or a message, maybe it's on LinkedIn, or maybe they just call NHRA and ask for me. But I've always been receptive to those that are just looking to maybe do some shadowing or just have an informational interview over the phone. Networking is such a great thing, and not only to just kind of reach out and call, but I can help them network as well. Anyone they reach out to in the racing community, I'm sure would be happy to help them do that. But that's the best, I think, is just reaching out and talking to someone and talking about different opportunities. You're always going to learn something, when you start to open your network like that.
I'm huge about networking too. I'm huge on networking. I'm huge on interning, and lots of the teams are open to that. And that's the great thing about NHRA too, is you can go up and talk to the teams. You can go to the, we're not fenced off. NHRA is so open. Like we say, every ticket's a pit pass, and you can go talk to the teams, and you can talk to their PR reps, and you can talk to you.
Yeah, and there's just nothing better than helping someone and watching them grow in the sport, and just, I've been at NHRA for 9 years now, and it's just been so great to see people move up and in their positions, and watching them do that along the way. There's a lot of dedication that it takes to stick with something, but just keep reaching out, picking up the phone, and like you said, stop and talk to someone at the races. I mean, there's so many people that are receptive, especially in our sport. So I would say just keep at it.
Perfect. Yeah, I know there's a couple girls I know of where I kind of met her through Jordan. I've been trying to coach her, and she actually has applied for the marketing job down here in Indy a couple times. And I'm like, whatever you need, let me know, because she's just so nice. And same thing, we met at the race and we got talking, and she's like, I love your job. I love that. I want to do that. So most of us are open to that and open to helping y'all. So that's what I love about us. And so
absolutely.
Do you want to give any shout outs, or where we can, to NHRA or to yourself, like where we can find everybody on social media?
So we are at NHRA pretty much on every social media platform. Check us out. We have so much content to share on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So just check us out at NHRA.
And thank you so much for talking to me today, Kristen. And when you listen back, I've already heard, when you get two Minnesota girls who talk together, our O's came out so bad this interview, where I'm like, oh, listen to our O's are just coming out. Oh my gosh, we've been home too much and talking to each other. So,
You know what, though, Nicole? Like, it is so true. I've had more people this past year, since I've been working remotely, ask me about where I'm from. Where are you from? It sounds like you're from, and some of them even guessed Minnesota, right? And I couldn't figure out, because I hadn't heard that in a while. It had maybe been a few years at least, and I thought, you know what? It's because I've been home. I haven't been at work. I've been home with my family, and we're all Minnesotan.
Yeah.
So it's true. It's true. You get around you talk the talk when you're around it.
Well, thank you so much, Kristen, and you have a wonderful day.
All right. You too, Nicole. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks again for listening. I'm Nikki Clark, and this is Women Take the Wheel. Be sure to connect and follow on Facebook when you search for Women Take the Wheel podcast. And be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast right now on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network,
This is Women Take the Wheel.
with Nikki Clark. Follow and subscribe to this podcast now, and discover even more great podcasts on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Online at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.
AllIndianaPodcastNetwork.com.